Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the University of St. Thomas, home of the 2001 Men's National Champion Basketball Team. I'm Jane Canny, Vice President for Student Affairs, and I'm delighted that you're all here with us today. We have a very special announcement, but before we do that, we're going to let you hang for a second here. I'd like to introduce the people who are here with me today. Here, Coach Steve Fritz, who's head men's basketball coach and also athletic director. Next to him is Associate Professor and Assistant Men's Basketball Coach John Tower. And the next person sitting there is Mark Dienhart, who is Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Fritz.
Thanks, Jane. I also want to welcome everybody today. We're here today to announce a change in the leadership for the men's basketball program here at St. Thomas. After 44 years of involvement and a wonderful 31 years as the head coach, I have decided to step down as the head coach of the men's basketball program. Being the head coach at St. Thomas of the men's basketball program has been the most exhilarating and fun thing anyone could have done for over 3 decades. No one could have enjoyed coaching more than I have. Being able to spend the end of a day with so many great young people and also going into some 850 plus games together has been very rewarding, but also it has passed the time quickly. Nobody could be luckier in life than to have had an institution like the University of St. Thomas support them through their career, and I thank Father Deese, Father Murphy, who have been the presidents during that time, and other people like Jane and Mark, and many other people that have supported our program and certainly will continue to support our program. No one could have a family that has been as supportive as my family has been. I love them all dearly and thank them for their love and support. They're all sitting right here. To my bride of 39 years, Bev, I know it's going to be harder for her, but thank you. To our newlyweds who were married Saturday, Joe and Katie, thank you to them. Peter and Emily, who are going to bless us with our first grandchild in October, thank you to them, and to Dave and Maura Sackett too. I look forward to having more time to spend with that grandchild and many others, we hope, as we go along here. So thank you very much. And most of all, nobody could be blessed with more great players, great assistant coaches. I thank all those players for over the years, all the great things they've done for St. Thomas basketball. I certainly thank this year's team for the great ride, and I want to thank my current assistants, John Tower, John Hughes, Don Johnson, and Tommy Fritz for all the great things that they've done in making us the program that we are. There's no doubt, I think, that this is a perfect time to step down. This program is in great condition and in a great position for the future. Obviously, coming off the pinnacle of the team's success in winning the Division III National Championship made this year very special, and it certainly caps off my coaching career. While I'll always be proud of the great things that our kids have done over the last 31 years on the court, what has been the most special to me and really has driven me to do this for 31 years is when you see what the young people who come through this program and come through this university and what they do in their lives. And we've got a great example sitting next to me, but you know, the things that they do in their lives, and especially the great fathers they've become and the great members of society they have. That really is what's special and will breathe the memories. I know we'll go over games and we'll go over funny things that happened at times during preparation or games and things like that, but that really is the most special thing I think about being involved in the field of coaching. I am staying on as the athletic director. Part of the reason I'm making this move at this time is the athletic director, at least position here at St. Thomas, has changed considerably with the addition of this magnificent facility that opened in September. There's so many more facets to being involved in making sure that the success of this building continues and grows with our programs. I'm also, well, the other thing that's changed too is some of the success of our programs. It was hard for me to sit in Tacoma for our opening games this year and having Glenn's team home here against, I don't know who you played that weekend, but it was in the NCAA playoff, and it's not fair to the athletic staff to be away. So those are all important factors. And I look forward to helping boost the success that all of our 22 programs are experiencing as we go along here. Along with this announcement of my change of position, I am also thrilled today to announce that Dr. John Tower has agreed to be the interim head coach for the 2011-2012 season. As most of you know, no one could be prouder of John than I am. He was a great player for us from 1991 to 1995. He led us to the Final Four of Division III in 1994, turned around the next season, and we put together a perfect season until we got into the NCAA playoffs. He won an NCAA postgraduate scholarship and did his doctoral work at the University of Wisconsin. He then returned to the University of St. Thomas campus as a member of the psychology department, earned tenure, and is a very popular faculty member. He has also assisted me for the past 11 years and has been a key part of our wonderful success that we have experienced in that time. John is an outstanding motivator, recruiter, and coach, and he will do a great job as a head coach. So I would like to bring John to the podium at this point. John Tower.
Still has your quick hands. He knocked my notes right out from me. Well, thank you. It's an absolute honor. I'm humbled to be here today. This is really a day to celebrate Coach Fritz, and my association with St. Thomas began really more than 30 years ago. My dad would take me to the games, not in the old Schoenecker Arena, but the old third floor gym, and so those were my fondest memories of my childhood. And over the last 30 years, that's gone from being a fan and a little kid who watched the St. Thomas players with admiration to having the chance to play for Coach Fritz here on some really great teams. Our recruiting sort of started in a barber shop down on Grand Avenue. We'd seem to bump into each other about every third Saturday.
Cost me a lot in haircuts.
And then I had the good fortune for playing 4 years for Coach and now as an assistant for the last 11 years. And, you know, I'm a big believer that if you find a job you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And I think as coaches, we're blessed to have that opportunity, that every day to get to work with young men like this. And obviously the run that we had this past season was magical on many levels. To beat 4 of the top 7 teams back to back to back to back is really a tribute to these guys and to Coach Fritz and the program that he has been the foundation of really for the last 44 years. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank some others who've been critical influences and role models in my life. My parents, John and Michelle, who are here today. My older son, Jack, who's 8, his younger brother, Adam's on a field trip today all day, so he couldn't miss out on the academic part of it. But they've been just unbelievable in my life, and I love them and thank them very much. Father Deese, Dr. Deanhart, Jane Canny. You know, when we were out in Salem, Virginia, not even a couple months ago, to have the administrative support that we have here at St. Thomas is really incredible. That all 3 of them were there along with other members of the administration. It meant a lot to us, meant a lot to the team, and really it reflects what the University of St. Thomas is all about, that we talk to our players all the time and to our recruits about this balance, the balance of excellence, and that is academics, it's athletics, it's career preparation, and we feel just absolutely delighted to be a part of this on a daily basis. Some of the things that I'll miss about Coach, he was fond of when we were struggling a little bit to look over at me and I was coaching the offense, and he would usually say something like, "You going to run something different?" And so I would sort of jab him back, and you know, he coached the defense and says, "Well, what do you want us to run?" And he'd usually look back and grumble, "Why don't you just run something that works?" He was a man, and I think that was one of his greatest abilities as a coach, to be concise, and every player would tell you they know exactly what he wants, and he doesn't have to usually say 2 or 3 words to get it. Sleep nights is another one of his favorites, that if a guy's not playing real well, he just sleep nights, not here in practice or at the games, right? You're open for a reason. We had a guy take a shot not so long ago, about an 18-footer, and misses. And he says, but I was open. He says, yeah, you're open for a reason. They know what kind of shooter you are. And as wonderful a mentor as he has, I think the simplest advice he gave me this past week, he just said, well, next year all you got to do is improve on this year's finish, really. So, thanks. In all seriousness, Coach is a legend, and you certainly can't replace him, nor would you want to try to do that. He will always be a legend and an icon here. But I am looking forward to following in those footsteps and leading the men's basketball team. We hope to continued success, and both on the conference and the national level. We're not going to change a whole lot. When something's not broke, you don't overhaul it. And so our philosophy, the full court press, the defense, the teamwork, the unselfishness, and recruiting student athletes with tremendous character, none of those things will change. The same thing I tell the guys before every game: play hard, play smart, play together, and have fun. Those four things are the foundation of everything we do. And I'd be also remiss if I didn't talk about the guys who are here, several members of our team, because this is why you coach. When you look at these guys and the kind of people they are, we're losing 5 unbelievable seniors next year. Again, you can't replace them. We've got a tough schedule. We're on the road at Stevens Point and River Falls, both who are in the national tournament, and Concordia St. Paul. But we embrace those challenges. We're looking forward to them. And I think one of the special things about St. Thomas is really when you think about what this place represents, it's the alums who played for us, it's the current players, it's the coaches. Don Johnson and John Hughes, who were instrumental in our success, are here today. And it really is the entire community. So I thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Coach, for this opportunity. And we hope you'll all be out to support the Tommies next season. Thank you.
My name is Mark Dienhart, and I'm here on behalf of Father Deese and really on behalf of everybody associated with the St. Thomas community. It's my duty and pleasure to thank and congratulate Steve for what's been a remarkable career as our men's basketball coach. You can't know Steve without being proud of him, his teams, the way he and they have always conducted themselves in representing St. Thomas over these past 31 years. He and they have served as a window to this university for many, many people. And I'd like to think they've reflected the quality and the substance of this institution in the way few others could have. The cultures of successful organizations, and certainly the cultures of successful higher educational institutions, have need of heroes whose accomplishments we can come together to celebrate, and which spur others on to similar accomplishments. Steve is one of those St. Thomas heroes, and his place in St. Thomas history will be secure and it'll be significant. As much as all of the friends and fans of St. Thomas men's basketball will miss Steve in this head coaching role, there's actually something that feels good and right about this decision after this past season for all of us, I think. I remember mentioning to Steve right after our national championship game that in my experience, national championships are among the few things in life that are all good, with the minor exception that everybody comes up to the head coach to find out what you're planning on for an encore. Well, today Steve is giving us his answer, and it seems to me it's the right answer. When you've produced and experienced what might well be considered the perfect season, why even try to produce an encore? For many of us who watched this season from the outside, it really did seem to be the perfect season, even in what Steve and the coaching staff might have seen as its imperfections, the losses or the stumbles that ultimately led to the team's amazing late season surge in the national championship. This past season, was a perfect end to a remarkable career, basketball coaching career, that is. I'm guessing that in Father Deese's and Jane Candy's mind, and I know in my own mind, we're grateful that Steve is continuing as our athletics director and expect and know that the same ability and energy that led to extraordinary accomplishments in his coaching career will now be directed to an already distinguished record as an athletic director. But as someone who has experienced this decision of walking away from coaching and devoting full-time attention to athletic administration, I do have one question for you, Steve, and that is, what in the world could you possibly have been thinking of? But what's done is done, and we're all delighted for Steve. So let me make a special announcement today with Father Deese's permission, and I know his great enthusiasm. It's the intent of the university to name the basketball floor inside Oceanica Arena the Steve Fritz Court in honor of Steve. Steve, the star St. Thomas basketball player, the remarkably successful basketball coach, and the extraordinary individual whose friendship we all cherish. Steve's name will be placed on the court yet this spring, and we'll dedicate the floor this fall. So, Steve, congratulations for that. And let me add congratulations and best wishes to John Tower, someone who has had so much to do with Steve's teams and their success, and someone in whom we all have great confidence. We trust the partnership that Steve and John have developed, although it will change. It will experience great success in the coming year as well. So I guess I should end this, John, by saying, what do you have in mind for an encore?
Thank you, Dr. Dienhart. This time, if we would like to ask some questions, feel free to do so.
Steve, was it really that easy a decision?
No, it's something that we've talked about. John and I have talked about for a number of years, though, and we knew 4 years ago we had a pretty special class coming in at that time, and I think that was kind of when we started looking at this kind of timetable and things, but. It gets harder when you get towards the end. It's something that I've always said too. You know, when you do make that kind of decision, you want to make sure, because this is the greatest job in the world. You know, and once you make the decision, it's over. And you know, I've never wanted to coach anywhere else, and would not have an interest in coaching anywhere else. But you're making that decision that you can't go back to. So, but it certainly made it a little easier the way we finished up this time.
Fritz, you wanted to officially decide that this was going to be it. I know you said you discussed it for several years, but
Oh, I think pretty much during this whole year, Charlie, we knew that this was going to be it. It's just we never try to, I guess, review and make those decisions until the season's over. But I knew, and I told Bev somewhere along the line that.
before you won the.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Regardless.
Yep.
How do you feel about having Courtney?
That's pretty humbling and pretty obviously a great honor. And you know, you look at 44 years is unbelievable, and that anybody could be at the same place for 44 years and have as much fun as I've had for 44 years. And you know, certainly a lot of it's attached to basketball, and to have the basketball court named after you is certainly very humbling and a great honor.
You know that, or just now until Mark? You know before Mark announced it that it was going to be.
Yeah,
This is a surprise.
not too. Oh no, we talked a couple days ago, but.
Any other questions? Well, this morning, many of us talked about graduation at University of St. Thomas, the excitement of seeing people go away, but the avoidance of it because we'll miss so many of you. And it's been a wonderful many, many years here, Steve, and I know you're not going away, so don't go too far. And we welcome you, Coach Tower. You're going to be going into the athletic tower, so your office is ready, so we're looking forward to that. Thank you all today for joining us. We appreciate your interest and your support of all Tommy athletics. It means a lot to all of us to have you here today, and we look forward to seeing you at other great Tommy athletic events. Thank you.